Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and this is going to be a battle Wood Elves versus Wood Elves, which is going to be a pretty cool way to kind of check these guys out, see how they play. My opponent is going to be Indie Pride, he is bringing Durthu, I am bringing Orion, so we're going to do a mashup of the two, see who comes out to be the best. The setting is of course going to be in the forest of Athel, Loren. So this is going to get going pretty quick. Let's put this on slow motion just so we can take a look at the army compositions. I think in the end I brought a pretty nice varied build. We played with the Wood Elves a little bit back and forth and found what were their relative strengths and weaknesses. And mine I think is a pretty good build when you're fighting other Wood Elves. Basically I brought way more numbers. If you take a look at this, I have 1054, he has 786, so I kind of wanted to swarm the enemy. So what is in this build? Well, I have 4 Glade Guards. 2 of them are just the basic variants, and then 2 actually have the Starfire Shaft, so those do extra damage. And then I have 3 Eternal Guards with shields, so you'll see them positioned to kind of screen the archers. There's 2 more up here, and then the 2 basic Eternal Guards to back them up, so 5 total Eternal Guards. And then I have one of these Wild Riders over on the right flank. These are some really good cav, and you're going to need cav when playing as the Wood Elves just because you need to be able to take out and silence enemy archers while defending your own. So bring these, but don't bring too many because they're pretty expensive and they don't scale super well if you have a lot of them. So that is my main line. Then as my heroes, I have a Spell Singer with the Lore of Life lore, basically. And this is going to prove crucial. You'll see this in action. And then, of course, I have Orion. And then I actually have 2 more units, and I deploy them on the flank. One of them is going to be the elite Wildwood Rangers. And then I also brought a single Treekin force. You will be tempted as the Wood Elves to bring a lot of their tree folks because they're so powerful and tanky. But at the same time, if you have just a select few of these, well, they're very slow, and yeah, they're powerful, but you need coverage to be able to screen your archers and protect them. And having a lot of treekin, yeah, will be strong, but you just won't have the surface area to cover all your archers. Whereas now I have enough units by focusing on just numbers that I can cover all approaches. Indie Predator on this side has gone a bit opposite, so he has a unit of Sisters of Thorn pushing around the flank. These are going to be magical cavalry, and so these are going to be a priority target for me. I do have units in the woods that I am just going to pop out of hiding right now. Indy didn't really know that these were here. He was just kind of scouting around, and I'm going to spring the trap on him. Let's take a look at his forces. He has less archers and less units overall than me, so he only has 3 archers. They're going to be positioned in the back, but they all have Starfire shafts, whereas I only have 2 with Starfire. Then his front ranks are going to be Eternal Guards, double cheved, so he's got 2 of those. A War Dancer with the Esrai Spears. These guys are really good against monsters. And then he has a couple more Treekin, so 1 there, 1 on the right. A pair of Dryads, and then a Tree Man and Durthu. So we'll see how this plays out. Very much a different type of build. Now we can put this on play. So the elf versus elf battles end up being really interesting. Very dynamic. You start to see some skirmishing that you wouldn't otherwise see. And these guys also have a couple javelins. So he's going to start to unload on me. But because I have the lots of numbers, I'm not too worried about taking losses. I'm just trying to zone him out. Meanwhile, my force is going to start to cross up. Indy is forming up in this position, and I'm meanwhile kind of trying to sweep around the flanks. I've got my archers, and they're going to push up into the woods. Having the cover of the woods is going to give you a really nice advantage against archers, so his position there is a bit, weak, and so that's why he's starting to pull back. Because once I am able to seize the force here, this is going to be great for me. And I'm in a position to kind of seize both sides. He's charging after my guys, and I'm going to turn about with Orion. I'm going to actually try and get around to shoot at his guys. So a couple of my archers get off, ward them away before he takes too much damage. And then I did cast a bombardment spell, and it kind of whiffed, but it was just meant to zone him out. I have plenty more where those came from. You'll notice that I also took damage with my Wildwood Rangers. This is a cool thing that you can do if you bring the Spell Singer here. She has tons of abilities if you bring the Lore of Life to heal your units. So any early skirmishing losses that you may take, you can replenish those. And so you can see me pulling in my units within the vicinity to try and recuperate from her. Meanwhile, my archers here are going to start to fire away at Indy's forces on both flanks. So on this side I'm pushing pretty hard, and he knows that he is fighting an uphill battle. Already it's 4 of my archers versus 3 of his, and I'm fighting from a wooden position, which is going to give me advantage. So he's mostly going to keep pulling back until the choke point is favorable. And now we get to see 2 different types of arrows start to fire on both sides. The exchange should favor me. I have 2 versus this 1 unit, and then I'm going to come in here and try and zone him out with Wild Riders. On this flank, he's still prodding around with Sisters of the Thorn, archers to ward off my units, and he's kind of bottled himself up. Meanwhile, I'm getting a lot of extra nice volleys on his retreating men. Not doing ridiculous damage for the time being, but it's a losing battle that he wants to pull out of. So he's kind of kiting a bit, not having taken too many losses. In the back here, I'm going to cast some of my healing spells. You can see it go off on my guys. I only have 94 men. As the hit points go up, I don't believe this particular spell will give you your units back, but it will bring the health of each individual guy up, which means that the next time they take a punch, your units won't necessarily be dropping. So here I'm up to full strength, as full as you can get, but I still have 94 men. So that's a nice little buff, and I got plenty more winds of magic to go around. And he still has his unit of Sisters of Thorn there, so I'm going to try and pull some archers, and they're now hidden in the forest, and this is going to be a great position to maybe shut down the low ground. More importantly, just start to put pressure on his troops. Also, mind you, with the build that I've taken, I have a lot of these Eternal Guards, and I'm going to be moving up with the Shieldmen to screen in the front. I know these 2 are exposed, so I'm going to pull up with some Eternal Guard. You want to bring some more sturdier, heavy-hitting troops like Orion and your Treekin to reinforce, just in case he tries to charge. And now he's going to start to fire away, but against the front side of my guys, especially upgraded with the shields, it's not going to be doing too much damage. You know, my archers in the forest here are going to be unloading. It's a very favorable position. This is actually a really cool angle to spot the skirmishing from. He notices that, hey, I'm at a skirmishing disadvantage, and so he's going to try and do something about that. The best thing for him to do at this point is to charge all out, which is exactly what he's doing. So we can watch a bit of this. This is scary. So his army is built for the rush. Look at all the types of units he has here, geared for melee, and so they're going to pull forward. I'm focusing fire on some of his dryads here, but now I'm going to be forced to pull back because I'm not in an optimal position. He's going to be able to concentrate forces. All his archers are firing away, so I want to move out and split up. I know his force is a concentrated blob, and it really wants to deal with me in one position, but if I can fall back, then that's going to be to my advantage once I can spread out. I'm going to have to sacrifice a couple units. My Spell Singer's on the flank, trying to desperately pull back, and he does have his Sisters of the Thorn pulling in on the side. I do have Eternal Guard to try and guard these Glade Guards. And then I'm also pulling out with some of my Cavalry Wild Riders with shields who've been hidden in the back waiting to get their opportunity. So I'm going to charge in the center with one of my Eternal Guards with shields against Eternal Guards with shields. So we should be doing pretty good. He's going to spot an opportunity to get in at my guys, but he is kind of tied down. Ooh, that's a pretty punishing charge, actually. And then he pulls out without too much damage. But my spears are going to catch him, and then here I am forced to turn around. So now I've engaged just with piecemeal, just 2 Eternal Guard units, one to hold the front, another one to hold, look at this, 3 full units are being held back. And this is why I decided to bring so many infantry, because I could bottle up, 3, 4 units against my single unit, and yeah, he may end up winning, but it's just about buying time, because now I can pivot around immediately with my archers, fire point blank. And the problem with any monstrous units like these Treekins is they stick up above your units, and so take a look at the arcs of fire. I can just go ahead and shred those guys. Same thing is going to happen on this front. Once I start to pivot around with my archers, I can target the Treekin, I can target especially the tree men here, and these Eternal Guard units can hold out for pretty long. Keep an eye on this front, as these Dryads are pretty quickly going to drop in number, and then I have both cavalry forces coming back around. I see Indy trying to make a move on my archers here. He knows he has to take them out, so he's preemptively moving Sisters of the Thorn, and I'm going to pull in some of my own Wild Riders to counter that. But this is going pretty well. I only lost one Eternal Guard unit, and on this front I'm going to perhaps lose another, but it's trading pretty cost effectively. Over here, my unit is starting to drop. It's frightened by enemies. It's fresh, but still facing overwhelming numbers. Here comes my support. I'm reforming spear lines, and my spell singer is somewhat tied down. But you can see here, I'm still going to be able to cast abilities, and this is one of the really cool things with the Spell of Life. This, blobbing that I'm trying to do with my cheap units is going to be great because I can heal that blob up, and it can be even more of a sandbag force. Now I'm going to commit my Wildwood Rangers. These guys are the elite units that are very good versus monstrous units. So now I'm going to charge in. The fireworks in the background is going to be Orion casting from Area of Effect. So I've got him indeed tied down fairly well. This spell doing a fair amount of damage. And Orion targeting enemies from a distance. He has come in with a Manticore that's been raised, but I'm going to be able to shoot at it. Put this on slow motion. What I've also done is pulled a cavalry unit, the one that was hidden in the back the entire time, waited for Indy to commit, and I'm going to be pulling around the rear where he has these nice juicy archer targets. He was doing a good job of kind of fending off my Wild Riders, who have now given a target attack on his Sisters of the Thorn. In this position, I'm still holding strong, but his tree men did push through, so this flank is susceptible to routing, but I've done a lot of damage to his more expensive units in the meantime. Another spell being cast on this side. Every time you cast a spell with the Spell Singer, it has, I believe, map-wide regeneration buffs for your units. So I was making sure to cast that. And he's also going to be focusing fire on my cav, so we'll see how this engagement goes. I do catch him at the standstill. He's going to pull out of there. I'm not quite sure what spell that is. Okay, so he's got weapon resistance and all that on his guys, and he's focusing fire on my cavalry. Shields of the Thorn, that's a really cool ability. So he's going to see my guys off. I do have more reinforcing archers, but this unit in the back did knock into the rear of his units there, so I am disrupting his rear lines. He's turning about. You'll see that the Elven archers can do that very quickly, much more quickly than other units. Quick reload, quick firing, and so I really have to get my Wild Riders in the mix. They're going to start tanking pretty quickly if I don't otherwise. But all this distraction is buying me more time in the front. He charges me with these Sisters of the Thorn, doing a good job. Let's go back and see the main engagement. So these concentrated archer units in the back have just focus fired on Durthu. And again, another thing about that we said previously about having these huge monstrous trees is, yeah, they're powerful, yeah, they're strong, but they stick out like a sore thumb, and they go down easy if you can bottle them up with these big troop numbers that I had. So it's going to my advantage, and I can focus fire on the next unit, which is the Treekin. Focus fire on this Treeman, who, take a look at this, he's at full health. We'll keep an eye, we're at 140. We'll see how long it takes for him to die. The rear lines have been cleaned up by combined archer fire, and now they can finally start to turn about and shoot at me. But my elite units plus my single unit of Dryads are going to be able to push through. And now we're charging down the field at his remaining art blobs. 20 seconds in, and this unit is already at half strength. You can see just how much damage these units do, especially with the Starfire shafts. This treatment is just so slow. I mean, the time for it to get up and close to me is just not good. It needs something to shut down those archers. And sadly, there was none of that. And boom, 40 seconds in, and it is gone. Routing, and then here it's going to go down. Orion, I barely committed him. He was kind of a support role casting spells, but now he's going to commit to the fight. Over in the background, Indy is getting some charge on me with these Sisters of the Thorn, seemingly doing a lot of work. But they are top tier, very expensive calves, so they go down. Yeah, they've chased away some of my Eternal Guards and Archers, but the main battle is won. I'm casting spells in and amongst his remaining archers. These guys are still pretty powerful, but now I have Orion in the mix, and I have my spear blocks chasing down the enemy. Let's watch a little bit of this. But these are, as the unit says itself, the Azray. Oh no, where are the Azrays? Someone around here. But yeah, he starts to shatter, and Orion here is now going to finally commit to the fight and tear these guys apart. So a cool mirror matchup. Well, mirror matchup in the sense of the faction, but kind of opposing tactics of Orion versus Durthu, and I think it does show that the holding power of the elves can be really good when augmented with the lore of life. And then all the archer backup, focusing fire on the Treekin, just proves to be, I think, just undeniably favorable. So we'll see kind of how this plays out. Let's end the replay so you can take a look at some of the stats there at the end. But I think the build that I ended up kind of stumbling upon was really, really powerful. Not that many kills overall, but you saw the damage that it inflicted. And just outnumbering your opponent by 300 allows you to have the tactical and maneuverability edge, which is kind of the name of the game when it comes to elves. You can see his force here. He really only had three mainline infantry to tie me down. The rest of these were slow moving. He only had 3 archers, so I outfired him with the archers, outheld him with the mainline, and then I had enough cavalry to deal with him. He did a really good job with his Sisters of the Thorn beating back my assaults, but these Wild Riders and Wild Riders with Shield did a good job of distracting his archers and hitting him in the back. Spellsinger also doing well. And these Wildwood Rangers, really, really good. I love those guys. Kept them till the end, kept them till they were fighting tree men and elite units, and that is where they shine. So I hope you guys enjoyed this interesting matchup, Orion versus Durthu. It seems that we can raise the hand of Orion and claim him the victor in this battle. So yeah, we'll see kind of how the meta plays out, but I do foresee it, Any Pride Agreed, being something similar like this, where you can kind of cover all your bases, exploit the lore of life, and it also, capitalize on your archer firepower. So yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be interesting. I can't wait till everyone has their hands on this, and yeah, stay tuned for more. Hope you enjoy. Peace out.